Yeah, it's a little thing about it's a 4chan thing. It's kids on the internet. They have this group of kids, and they like to say funny words like barrel roll or there's a video game move from Star Fox. Star Fox 20.
Star Fox 64.
Yeah, and they've been dogging me for a year. Gotta tell you, driving me nuts actually. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I scream, 4chan!
When I was 15, I found this website called Futaba Channel, and it was a Japanese forum and image board. And that format of forum at that time was not well known outside of Japan. And so what I did is I took it, I translated it into English, and I stuck it up for my friends to use. And now, 6.5 years later, over 7 million people are using it, contributing over 700,000 posts per month, or per day rather. And we've gone from one board to 48 boards. This is what it looks like. So what's unique about the site is that it's anonymous and it has no memory. There's no archive. There are no barriers. There's no registration. These things that we're used to with forums don't exist on 4chan. And that's led to this discussion that's completely raw, completely unfiltered. And what the site's known for, because it has this environment, is it's fostered the creation of a lot of internet phenomena, viral videos and whatnot, known as memes. Two of the largest memes that have come out of the site, some of you might be familiar with, are these lolcats. Just silly pictures of cats with text, and this resonates with millions of people apparently, because there are tens of thousands of these, and there's a whole blogging empire now dedicated to pictures like these. And Rick Astley's kind of rebirth these past 2 years, Rickroll was this bait and switch, really simple, classic bait and switch. Somebody says they're linking you to something interesting, and you get an 80s pop song. That's all it was, and it got big enough to the point where there was a float last year at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and Rick Astley pops out and Rickrolls millions of people on television. There are thousands of memes that come out of the site. There are a handful that have escaped into the mainstream, the ones I've just shown you. But there are just, every day, every month, people are producing thousands of these. So to a site like this have rules. We do. There are the codified rules that I've come up with, which are more or less ignored by the community. And so they've come up with their own set of rules, the rules of the internet. And so there are 3 that I want to show you specifically. Rule 1 is you don't talk about B. 2 is you do not talk about B. And this one's kind of interesting. If it exists, there's porn of it, no exceptions. And I will spare you that slide. I assure you it is very true. B is the first board we started with, and it is in many ways, it is the beating heart of the website. It is where a third of all of the traffic is going, and B is known for more than anything, not just the memes that they've created, but the exploits. And Chris just touched on one of those a second ago, and that was the Time 100 poll. So somebody at Time at the magazine thought it would be fun to nominate me for this thing they did last year. And so they placed me on it, and the internet got wind of it, my community, decided they wanted me to win it. I didn't instruct them to do it. They just decided that that's what they wanted, and so, 390% approval rating isn't so bad. So they broke that poll, and I ended up on top. I ended up at this really fancy party. But that's not what's interesting about this. It's that they weren't putting me at the top of this list. They were actually, it got so sophisticated to the point where they gamed all of the top 21 places to spell Marble Cake also the game. The amount of time and effort that went into that is absolutely incredible. And Marble Cake is significant because it is the channel that this group called Anonymous organized. And Anonymous is this group of people that protested, very famously, Scientology. And so the story is Scientology had this embarrassing video of Tom Cruise, went up online, they got it taken offline and managed to piss off part of the internet. And so these people, over 7,000 people, less than 1 month later, organized in 100 cities around the globe and this is LA, protested the Church of Scientology, and they've continued to do so. Now, 2 full years after the fact, they are still protesting. we've got this activist group this grassroots group that's come out of the site. And last I'm going to show you the example, the story of Dusty the cat. Dusty is the name that we've given to this cat. This young man posted a video of him abusing his cat on YouTube. And this didn't sit well with people, and so there was this outpouring of support for people to do something about this. So what they did is they put CSI to shame here. The internet detectives came out, they found his MySpace, they took the YouTube video, and they matched up everything in the video, and within 24 hours, they had his name, and within 48 hours, he was arrested. And so what I think is really intriguing about a community like 4chan is just that it's this open place. As I said, it's raw, it's unfiltered, and sites like it are kind of going the way of the dinosaur right now. They're endangered because we're moving towards social networking. We're moving towards persistent identity. We're moving towards a lack of privacy, really. We're sacrificing a lot of that. And I think in doing so, moving towards those things, we're losing something valuable. Thank you.
So, thank you. Now, got a couple questions for you, but if I ask them, is the TED website going to go down?
Well, you're lucky that this is not being streamed to them live right now.
Well, you never know. Some of them, we've got people in 75 countries out there watching. Don't tell. But seriously, so this issue on anonymity is, I mean, you made the case there, but anonymity basically allows people to say anything, all the rules gone. You've had to wrestle with issues like child pornography, and I'm just curious whether you sometimes lie awake in the night worrying that you've opened Pandora's box.
It's yes and no. I mean, for as much good that kind of comes out of this environment, there is plenty of bad. There are plenty of downsides. But I think that the greater good is that is being served here by just allowing people. There are very few places now where you can go and not have an identity, to be completely anonymous, and say whatever you'd like. And saying whatever you like, I think, is powerful. Doing whatever you like is now crossing a line. But I think it's important to have these places where people, I mean, I get emails, people say, thank you for giving me this place, this outlet where I can come after work and be myself.
But words, saying things, can be constructive. It can be really damaging. And if you cut the link between what is said and any attribution back to you, I mean, surely there are huge risks with that.
There are, certainly, but...
Tell me about what, I mean, I think you asked the board what you might say at TED, right?
Yeah, I posted a thread on Sunday, and within 24 hours it had over 12,000 responses. And the thing is, I didn't make it into that presentation because I can't read to you anything that they said, more or less. 99% of it would have been, bleeped out. But there were some good things that came out of that, too. Love and peace were mentioned.
Love and peace were mentioned kind of with quote marks around them,
Cats
right?
and dogs were mentioned, too.
And has that content is all off the board now, right? It's gone, or is it still up there?
I stuck that thread so it lasted a few days. It went up to about 16,000 posts, and now it has been taken off.
Okay, well, I'm not sure I would have necessarily recommended everyone at TED to go and check it out anyway. But Chris, you yourself, I mean, you're a figure of some intrigue. You've got this surprising semi-underground influence, but it's not making you a lot of money yet. What's the commercial picture here? Sorry about this.
The commercial picture is that there really isn't much of one, I guess. When you've got the site has adult content on it, and I mean, obviously it's got some very offensive, obscene content on it, just in terms of language alone. And when you've got that, you've pretty much sacrificed any hope of making lots of money.
So you still live at home, right?
I actually moved out recently.
That's really cool.
I got out of mom's. and I'm back in school right now.
But what conversations did you or do you have with your mother about 4chan?
At first, very kind of pained, awkward conversations. The content is not dinner table conversation in the least. But my parents, I think part of why they kind of are able to appreciate it is because they don't understand it.
And they were probably pleased to see you on top of the time pole. That must have been, people like that.
They still didn't know what to think of that, though. They didn't know.
And so, in 10 years' time, what do you picture yourself doing?
That is a good question. As I said, I just went back to school, and I am considering majoring in urban studies and then going on to urban planning. Kind of taking whatever I've learned from online communities and trying to adapt that to physical community.
Chris, thank you. Absolutely fascinating. Thank you for coming to TED.